Hi, it was great to join you in discussing the deals in the tournament yesterday. It was great to see so many IITians taking an interest again in playing bridge. It's quite an exciting game, and if you can do well in a good field or you can win, then it adds even more to the enjoyment. So, great to be amongst you for discussing this. I created this video just to complete the discussion on one particular deal. It is the very first deal that Amitabh and uh, Pradeep have included in the bulletin, and that bulletin really has come out very nicely. Of course, you cannot give the entire space to one single deal, so I will complete that job with a video dedicated just to a single deal. As somebody mentioned yesterday during the Zoom meet, that probably every deal had something of interest, and that is really true. And as we discuss this deal, you will see that there are many nuances and many different ideas that we can discuss with respect to one single deal. So, on to the basic problem that the deal posed. So, after two passes, West opens one note-drum, North passes, and East, holding Jack to five spades, small singleton heart, is small in diamonds, and King to four-carded club has to decide on his options. Would he like to pass or would he like to transfer to two spades? That is the first problem. The second problem is a game likely or even possible? And if game is not possible, is it at all worthwhile to force the bidding to higher levels and risk a negative score? So here is what is in favor of passing. One, and this is what got a mention in the bulletin. Your spade pips are pretty bad. The shortcomings are bad spade pips and just 8 points. Typically, you need something like 25 high card points for the game. One note room opening is 15 to 17. You have 8. So the combined holding could be 23 or up to 25 points. But if it is 23 or 24, the chances of game are uh, rather likely to be small. If it is 25, you would definitely have a reasonable go at game. But of course, you need to find out whether partner is minimum or maximum. For that, you need to continue. And if you continue, you risk going too high. The second issue is the fit, and you have five spades. How many spades could partner have? Considering the standard definition for a balanced or semi-balanced hand, partner could have 2, 3, 4 or 5 spades. The recent trends are in favor of opening 5 card or major if the point count is right with one note drum. So there is a good chance that you even would have a 5-5 spade fit. Now, if you don't pass, would you have a second chance? Considering that you have 23 high card points between you, opponents have only 17, and in N.K. Gupta's terms, your suit is the boss suit, the top major spades. So opponents are quite less likely to get into the picture. So if you pass, That will be a final statement on your choice for the contract. Most likely the contract will be one note. That means in order to keep the chance of exploring a game alive, you ought to transfer to spades. You ought to bid too hard. So you transfer to spades, partner bids to spade, and it goes pass, and now it's your turn. Would you bid again? What are the considerations? So let me explain this. What does partners bid up to spade mean? Remember that you have asked for a transfer to spade, but that is not an absolute order. Partner doesn't always have to bid to spade. In bidding to spade, he has exercised a choice. He has not bid two no trump, he has not bid three club, he has not bid three spade. What does that tell you? That tells you that partner most likely does not have uh, both the top of range hand and spade field. So if he had 17 points and 3 spades or 4 spades, he would definitely have bid higher than 2 spades. Even if he had only 3 spades, if he had a good hand, he would probably have bid 2 no trump. If he had 4 spades, he could have super accepted. You can look up what super accept is. Basically, it tells the responder that opener has excellent fit for the transferred suit, and depending on the methods you agree, it tells you something more about one of the side suits. So West's rebid of two spade tells us that he definitely does not have a very good hand in support of spades. Either he doesn't have support in spades, or he has a hand which is in lower range. And that means that with your 8 points, you are likely looking at 15 or 16 bad points with partner. So you definitely don't have 25 points combined holding and spade feet. As for 25-point holding and the chances of 3 no trump, we did observe that with the bad spade spots, chances of 3 no trump if partner doesn't have the top of range hand are rather slim. So you can rule out a good spade fit, you can rule out a very good hand with partner, and you can probably rule out the possibilities of a game. In which case, pass of two spades is possibly the best option. Remember that if you play in two spades, if partner just have ace of hearts, you could get roughs with these small cards. So playing in spades, the small pips is not so much of a liability as it is while playing in three note. So we have thus far seen that it probably is a good idea to bid too hard to transfer to two spades, and when partner rejects any higher rebid than two spade, suggesting that he doesn't have both spade fit and a good hand, it probably is right to pass two spade. Let us now look at the traveler. 18 tables played the board, and notice that only one table played into spade. Not all 18 opened one no trump. Some players did open one club, so probably some of the players were playing slightly different bidding system. But you should note that where it was GIB plus GIB, it reached 3 no trump. Where it was GIB sitting in the east seat, again the contract was 3 no trump because GIB probably practically rendered its partner helpless in this case by rebidding 3 club on 2 spade. But then we also note that many others reached 3 note round. So probably many other players continued on 2 spade. I have an explanation for why this happens, but about that in some later video. The only pair that stopped in 2 spade, let us look at what that pair is. Okay, so this is MP55 sitting west and 7 DK7 sitting east. It is Deepak Khemani. It's not a big surprise that Deepak Khemani got it absolutely right on this deal. Deepak is a through and through IITian and quintessential professor, quintessential academic who probably can be relied to think the right thoughts almost always and maybe get one of those right thoughts into action once in a while, as he did here. Deepak worked on a bridge playing program for his PhD in mid 80s in IIT Bombay. And as usual, we don't usually have good support for these kind of endeavors. So I don't think he has been able to do too much of work on this later, but I'm sure he hasn't given up. He probably is still um, engaged in giving one or two projects to one or two of his students. How well those students do in that project, I wouldn't know. But I'm pretty happy to know that here is a deal that got discussed, and here is a deal on which Deepak was the only person to get the bidding absolutely right on 2 occasions. And I really wanted to mention that. So we have examined reasons for the responder to opt to transfer to 2 spades, and then when partner rebids 2 spades to pass. Let us examine. This is where I examined the uh, fit, whether it is a 5-2 fit, 5-3 fit, 5-4 fit. That means whether partner has a doubleton spade or 3 or 4 or 5 spades. How many number of times does he have doubleton? How often does he have 3, 4, 5 cards? Now, if you allow any 4-3-3-3, any 4-4-3-2, any 5-3-3-2 shape, what you get out of 1,000 deals approximately, 48% times partner would have 3 spades. That is almost half the number of times partner would have 3 spades and you would have a 5-3 fit, and a quarter times 24.6% partner would have 4 spades and you would have a 5-4 fit, and then uh, about 4% of the times partner would have 5 spades and you would even have a 5-5 fit. Of course, with 5 carded spade, the one note round opening would be discretionary. So sometimes some of these hands, partner might not open one note round, might choose to open one heart. But in standard American system, all of these hands, 4-4-3-2, 4-3-3-3, with 15 to 17 points, you would have to open one note round, you wouldn't have any choice. And then you would have a 5-3 or 5-4 fit almost 75% of the times. And if you don't transfer to spades, you would miss playing in spades with a good 8 or 9 card fit, and in some small cases with a good 5-5 fit. We also saw that with spade pips being bad, 3 note or any note contract might not play as well as spade contract because In a spade contract, you can rough with small pips. So that is about the length of fit. As it is, you can see that partner has 13 cards, so the average number of cards is 3.25. Because you have 5, only 8 cards are left in the field, so maybe the average is closer to 3. But given the permitted shapes and given a simulation with about 1000 hands, you see that close to 80% of the time, 77% of the times, you would have a good spade fit and you definitely don't want to lose it. Now, I also did the simulation of par scores or what is possible with 100 different hands. And as you can see, this is where that simulation shows. Out of 100 times, about 18 plus this one 19, about 18 to 20% no term contract scores better, about 65% spade contract scores better. There are these outliers about 6% of the times. Two heart contract features better, but then again, this could be with partner having a 5-carded heart, and since it is a discretionary one, no term opening, we might want to think that out of these 6 hands, on maybe 2 or 3 hands, partner would prefer to open one heart because some of the side suits are wide open. The other interesting part is that there are very few diamond contracts that turn out to be optimum or par contracts, and that is because if partner has length in diamonds, probably Notram would score better and score more points. So almost all of those hands where partner has 5 diamonds or 4 diamonds, Notram scores more. And of course, there are some hands, as you can see, about 4% above game and 2% in 3 clubs. So about 6% hand where club contract is the best. And again, you can see that from the hand, since East has 4 clubs, if it is a 4-4 fit, because of the roughs, the club contract would deliver more tricks and perhaps decisively more tricks than a no-term contract. And therefore, in the table, we see that about 6% of the deals a club contract scores well and is the par or optimum contract. Finally, I was a bit worried about these outliers. How can heart contract play well opposite a singleton? Is it always a 5-1 fit, 4-1? Of course, it would take too much amount of time to go into detail of this manually. So I did another simulation, and this time with 1000 hands, just to check if this wasn't an outlier. And as you can see, it isn't. Once again, about 6% hands play better in hearts, and about 16% in no trumps, and about say 65 or 66% in spades. And once again, there are these about 5 to 6% hands that play better in clubs. So, whatever our initial thoughts were, looking at just the East hand and looking at bidding, we are able to verify them with a bit of detailed simulation of hands. That brings me to the end of this discussion on this particular hand. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for joining. Bye.